Business owners, particularly small business owners, are facing a really uncertain future in this country, and calls to the Small Business Debt Helpline and the National Debt Helpline have exploded in the last few weeks. Fiona Guthrie is the Chief Executive of Financial Counselling Australia, which runs both of those helplines. She joins us now from Melbourne. Good morning, Fiona.
Good morning.
You have had a huge increase in the volume of calls. What are small business owners in particular telling you?
We've had a big increase in the small business helpline, not so much in the national debt helpline, which is interesting. But what small business owners are telling us is that they're essentially just overwhelmed. They're at the end of their tether. We're particularly hearing from sole traders who may not be eligible for any government support. For example, there was a person who had a carer's payment, also had a small business, so can't get any government support. People are having to deal with Centrelink for the first time, where with JobKeeper, they dealt with the ATO. They already had a relationship. They're having to set up accounts. It takes time. They're trying to navigate a system that's difficult with different announcements and different criteria and different eligibility and trying to get information about that. And so the small business financial counsellors can help. We can help people navigate that system. But I suppose the overwhelming it's just too much. You know, people are really, really struggling. They've lost incomes and they're having to put staff off. It's heartbreaking.
It's interesting you saying that, you know, part of the issue is there's the amount of money, which is one thing, and actually getting it is another. And today we're asking small business owners to let us know their experiences. We've had a couple come in already. A couple positive, mostly negative, as you would be saying. People really stuck to actually figure out what's going on. Let's talk about the money. Is there enough money available for small businesses?
Well, if you're on JobKeeper and you're a small business passing on to employees, in the first long lockdowns, it was $750 per week. It's now a maximum of $600 and those individuals have to pay for it. And there are different grants for small businesses and it depends on the state. And as I said, depends on the eligibility and your turnover. And so it's so much more up in the air and uncertain for people. And I think that's part of the problem. It's just less clear and it's more difficult to try and get, and there's a time lag. So look, everyone's very pleased that there is support available and that's really important. I don't want to lose sight of that. But for some small businesses, no, it's not enough.
Let's go to individuals. As you mentioned earlier, individuals, if they're on Centrelink payments, aren't able to get that disaster relief from the Commonwealth. How is that affecting people?
Well, for some people, it's just been disastrous. So we had a financial counsellor tell me last week about a client of his who had JobKeeper. She had a small amount of money from a casual employment. That casual employment dried up. She was desperate. She's got 2 small children, really, really worried. So you don't always make good decisions when you're overwhelmed and you can't really understand criteria, and that's easy to see why she made this decision. And she took herself off JobKeeper.
You mean JobSeeker?
In the hope that she would get the JobSeeker, sorry, in the hope that she would get the COVID disaster relief payment of $600. It's not clear that she would be eligible for that. Even if she was eligible, it wouldn't be backdated. It would probably be the smaller number of $365. And then if she can't get any of that, then she's got a waiting period to get back onto unemployment benefits.
Wow.
So that's an example of what happens when you're really stressed and you're trying to understand different criteria and eligibility and changes to mutual obligations and asset tests. And people don't have buffers. So the people who are probably doing it the hardest, and we're hearing lots on the National Debt Helpline from the construction industry and people who've lost their jobs, are actually the people least able to manage that. So people who've lost casual employment and now have a lot less money than what they did before, you don't have a buffer. So what do you do when you can't pay your rent and you can't pay your electricity?
They're very good questions. Fiona Guthrie, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you so much for coming on to speak to us today.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And if you are experiencing financial distress, you can call the National Debt Helpline on 1800 007 007, or the Small Business Debt Helpline is on 1800 413 828. And of course, if you are a small business trying to navigate that world of assistance, make sure you let us know how you're getting on.